Hello, everyone. This is Tim McInerney, Town Administrator for the Town of Grafton. I'm here with Rebecca Meekins. We are recording a Zoom meeting to cover the annual and the special town meeting warrant. The special town meeting will start at 9 a.m. on June 20th, with the annual starting at 9:30. We wanted to cover some logistics relative to town meeting. It will be at the high school, mostly on the field, on the high school field, the football field, and in the gymnasium. We are doing a direct mailer to every household to give information with logistics for the town meeting. And the town moderator will do a short video either after this video or separate from this video that will talk about the logistics and how voting will happen at town meeting. I can tell you a few pieces of it now. Everyone upon registration will receive a wristband, and that wristband will allow them to participate at town meeting to vote. The majority of the meeting, like I said, will happen on the field, with the gymnasium being able to hold 175 people with adequate social distancing requirements being met. People who are mobility challenged or adverse to sitting in the sun will be asked to be in the gymnasium, and everybody else will be asked to sit in the field. We will try to have video presentation. We will have audio and visual back into the gym. Few reminders: we ask people to bring water, sunscreen. Children will be allowed on the field. They just need to stay with their parents. Again, we'll have a 9 o'clock start time. Registration will start at 8 o'clock. We ask people to get there early. Parking may be at a premium. We will have certain MRC and fire and police on hand to help direct people in an appropriate manner to get them registered and get them onto the field. And we can start the meeting on time and be expeditious with our time for a town meeting. The purpose of this presentation that we're filming today, Becca and I are doing this remotely through Zoom to provide information to the voters who would attend town meeting so they can make an informed decision. We're not here to tell people how to vote. We're just telling them that A, there's a town meeting, and B, your participation in this democratic process is imperative, and we want to provide information to help you get it right. So having said that, between now and town meeting, while our offices are closed, we respond promptly to emails and the voicemail messages if people have questions, concerns, thoughts. We're here to take them, and you should leave a message or send us an email, and we'll answer your questions as quickly as we can to provide you with good information so you can make a good decision at town meeting. So to reiterate, Rebecca and I are here. We're going to show some slides. We're going to talk you through some of the articles. We have 8 special town meeting articles, and we have 41 annual town meeting articles. So we're going to start with the special first. Again, this will be at the high school on the 20th at 9 a.m. And we will have another video and a mailer to provide more information. So we're going to start with Article 1. We always start with some housekeeping items. We're going to adjust the budget for fiscal 20. So from July 1, 2019 until June 30, 2020, that's the fiscal 20 budget. So we are making adjustments to that. We're going to pull up a few slides here as we go through for special town meeting. So the adjustments we're looking to make are all within the operating budget. There's no further appropriation associated with these adjustments to the budget. I think that's pretty important to articulate. I will tell you that some or most of these are due to COVID-19 related issues and overtime and expenses. But again, we are able to move money due to good fiscal management in the appropriation that was already appropriated at the May town meeting from last year. So I'll just give you a broad brush of what that means in terms of totality. It's $148,000 we're looking to transfer within line items that are already appropriated. So there's no further appropriation needed, just a transfer of existing funds. And that's 1/4% of the operating budget to make these adjustments. So just in full disclosure, the 148 is a very small portion, and to be within that number in a $65 million budget is really, really a good thing if you only have to make those small adjustments. So I'm going to have Becca take you through this slide relative to the transfers we're looking to make. Again, it is within the existing appropriation. There's no additional funding sought through Article 1. Becca?
Sure. So we're going to do a handful of transfers here to adjust Article 20. The first one is inside of the police department, moving some funding that department will have left over on personnel due to the receipt of a grant this year, moving it into the expense line item so that they can take care of some maintenance contracts that they have. You're gonna notice that we're moving a lot of dollars from fire personnel. That's largely due to the fact that there's been a reduction in the number of calls since COVID-19 has hit. There's been less traffic on the road, so we've had to respond to fewer calls, specifically to the Mass Pike. All those dollars that are being moved from fire personnel, the first one is to select board personnel. And you're going to notice that a lot of these are associated with additional costs that we've seen related to COVID-19. So select board personnel, that's additional time spent on COVID-19 related matters. MIS, GIS, that's our IT line, that's related to having to mobilize staff to be able to work remotely in response to the stay-at-home order from the governor. A lot of unforeseen expenses there. Building department expenses, having to purchase additional PPE for inspectors. They were still going out and are still going out. Board of Health expenses, that secretary has seen additional workload as a result of COVID-19. Unclassified personnel, these are HRA reimbursements for employees as a result of the PEC agreement, which is a bargaining agreement for employees related to health insurance. Elections, personnel, and expenses, those are additional costs related to COVID-19 for purchase of additional absentee ballots and additional personnel costs related to the change in location for town meeting. Recreation is moving dollars from personnel to expense after the difficult decision of canceling their summer programming and beach operation. They'll be moving dollars into expenses so that they can make some infrastructure improvements using those existing funds. And the Council on Aging has additional personnel dollars that they'll move to expenses as a result of not having some part-time people in the building. They will use those dollars to replace an existing commercial freezer in the kitchen that has exceeded its useful life.
So the other piece we should mention, a lot of folks know and have heard about the CARES Act that the Congress has passed and related to COVID response. The town of Grafton is slated under the Secretary of the Administration and Finance from the governor, $1.6 million to deal with responses. So even though we're making this adjustment, we have made application for those funds for expenses we know as of today, but also could anticipate in the future. So we made a complete ask for that 1.6, we asked for that. So these transfers, while we're trying to balance our books, we will ask for funds from the CARES Act. If they're eligible to be reimbursed to the town, we will seek reimbursement for them. So just another example of just trying to be diligent with the taxpayer money that we've been given. So Article 2, Becca, unless you think we should add one more piece or any other pieces for Article 1.
No, we can move on.
Okay, so snow and ice, fiscal 20, we had a pretty mild winter, but there were a lot of salt treatments that went on. We've called in contractors at a number of times, but we need to cover diesel fuel expense, personnel costs for overtime, salt, other materials. So this right now runs at a deficit. The Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee is aware of the deficit. So we look to fund the deficit from a streetlight warrant article. We have about $80,000 left. If people remember back to last year, we had an appropriation that we were hedging against using because we had a grant application for green communities to change our street lights out to high efficient LED lights, which we did receive the grant. So these funds in the warrant article for that street light transition can be used for snow and ice. So we look to use 80,000 to fund $87,000 of a snow and ice deficit we want to use from existing funds. There'll be about 8,000 that'll be used from free cash. So that'll be really the motion. It'll be to transfer and liquidate that warrant article for streetlights and use 8,000 from free cash to pay the balance of snow and ice. And then Article 3 is prior year bills. There's 4 of them. We will look to use free cash for these bills. And after we do these 2 items, the balance of free cash will be $1,800,022.13. So Article 4, sick and vacation buyback. This is relative to the bylaw. If we know of people who are retiring or leaving our employ for whatever reason, they are entitled to sick time capped under the bylaw. If they're going to retire, vacation leave is always a payout under state law. So we anticipate about $10,000 being needed for that for people who are leaving the town. We look to free cash for that particular number. That'll leave us a balance of $1.8 million in free cash once we make this transfer. Article 5 is CPC Affordable Housing Trust article. It's their portion of CPA funding. It's reserved for affordable housing. So it's pretty straightforward for that. It's $53,957. And Article 6 is an easement for National Grid. We had some work done at the beach probably 2 years ago now, and we had a license done by the Board of Selectmen to put an underground line from the pole to the building. We did not do the easement because they didn't know exactly where it would go given the logistics out there. So now we are going to grant the easement from pole to the building for electric purposes for the opt-in site for the town beach. So that's what that is. There's no cost associated with that, just it's a formality, housekeeping item. And then due to COVID, we have an article under the charter in the bylaws relative to allowing non-union employees to carry over up to 10 days with the town administrator's approval of vacation time. So depending on how much vacation time they carried over, most of the time you can only carry over a maximum of 10, but we realized that some people weren't afforded the opportunity to take vacation because there simply A, wasn't any place to go, and B, if they were kept here to work for whatever reason, we just felt that it was appropriate to recognize the time they weren't able to take over this last quarter, and we want to be able to let them carry over in addition to the 10 days to a maximum of 20. So we want to make that for a one-time thing for people to be able to carry over an additional 10 days consistent with the bylaw to allow the town administrator to make that decision as is consistent with the bylaw. And then Article 8, this is a big deal to all of us because it satisfies a couple things. We take 8 Pine Street, which is a dilapidated part of the state hospital. State hospital, as everyone knows, has been rehabbed to some extent, to a large extent by Tufts University Veterinarian School of Medicine. But there were some portions off of Pine Street that have never been looked at, roofs are caving in and so forth. So we've done a number of studies, and everybody likes to say we do studies and let them sit and get dust on them. Well, this study we did in 2017 has been put to good use because we went to the state of Massachusetts and we made the argument to allow us to enter into a purchase and sale agreement for a sales partnership with the state of Massachusetts, where they would give us the property for $1, this 8.8 acres. And we would have the opportunity to develop an RFP the way we thought was appropriate for the development to be. And we based that RFP on this Dodson-Flinkner report that they did in 2017. We had a number of outreach meetings. We talked to Tufts, we talked to neighbors, we went into the community and solicited feedback. And we came up with a strategic plan for the transit-oriented village around the MBTA station. So the picture you're looking at is obviously the administration building for Tufts. It was the state hospital. They restored it. It's a beautiful building. But the other buildings are very, very tough. So what we did is we built an RFP around the strategic plan. We went out to bid. We had 4 bidders supply us with good responses. 3 were very good, 2 were better than that, and then 1 we finally landed on is the GSX Ventures Group, and they would look to build 306 units of housing, and we'll get into the numbers in terms of the number of units and bedrooms and so forth, and 1,100 square feet of commercial space, which if you back up 1 slide, we can kind of look at this area. I know I probably can't control it, but on the right-hand side of this would be a new area, which would be the retail and or commercial space, if you will. This is right across the street from IDEX, right near the MBTA station. So there'll be amenities for shopping and for restaurants. And then to the left, that housing area would be the actual development. A lot of the buildings that are on the site are in very, very bad shape, and there are a lot of remediation that needs to happen there. So they look to transfer this parcel to them for a value of about $1.7 million in a cash deal to the town without any contingencies of TIFs or affordable housing trust money. So that was part of the decision that we made to go with GSX. We're looking for the board to sign a purchase and sale agreement, obviously contingent upon the town being willing to dispose of this property for this purpose. There's no zone change associated with this. We changed the zone at a previous town meeting to allow a development such as this to be consistent with the strategic master plan that we just shared with you on a previous screen. So we really laid out a framework for this to be a development for workforce housing. And everything in here will be rental, and it will be affordable for 25% of the units. So if you can back up 1 slide to the number of units, these are proposed. There's nothing in here that's engineered or been approved, but in our invitation for bid, we had to make them tell us what they were going to propose. So none of this has been approved. It's just their proposal. These numbers look like they're good and they could be sustained. And they've done the market analysis to say that this could work at this location. So all of these market rates go to our SHI, subsidized housing index. So because we have 25% of the units that will be affordable. So you can see the market rental units, and then you have the affordable ones. So 229 for market and 77 for affordable units. So it's really a win-win. We get the cash. Unfortunately, we have to split that with the state of Massachusetts to basically a 55-45 split, but we get the better end of that. And we took ownership of this in August with town meeting approval in 2019. We went out to bid, and now we'll be under agreement provided town meeting approves this and the Board of Selectmen authorizes us to enter it to a P&S. This will be under agreement inside a year, which is record-breaking time turnaround relative to getting a state hospital from the state of Massachusetts and getting it back onto the tax rolls, get it under agreement, and start the development process. There'll still be a process at both conservation and the planning board, and to some degree the select board. But this is a great project. It's not one thing. If you look at this proposal and this master plan for the transit-oriented development, it's not just this. It's UPS, it's the Afonso development on Institute, it's other developments in the area that'll be complementary and provide workforce housing. For example, when and if we have approval already now on the books for 660,000 square feet of development at Tufts University on their science park land for a biotech manufacturing plant, if that were to come to fruition, this actually moves it further as a place where people can work and live and commute and work. So we're really building a village, and that was the whole theme of the study and the feedback we got from people in the area when we did our outreach meetings, that this will become a community unto itself and a great amenity for everyone in Grafton right by the train station. So a lot of positive things relative to this. The investment from GSX is, I think it's just over $75 million. So there's a huge tax benefit to us when this gets developed, probably almost $1 million additional tax revenue, which will really offset the tax rate for the town overall. So we look to have this fully developed probably in 2 years, but in that third year of full use, you know, the tax reduction will be noticed, and this will offset some of the burden to the taxpayer because it'll diversify the tax base. So we think it's good news, and we just hope you have good information to make a decision. If you have questions or comments, certainly email us relative to the special town meeting or the annual town meeting. We're here. These decisions are going to be made on the 20th, and we want you to have good information. So if you have questions or concerns, please call us ahead of time. We'll try to give you good information, and we can try to move forward. We appreciate everyone listening today, and we look forward to seeing you on the 20th. Thank you very much.